Unidentified vessel. Please submit your clearance codes. I can bring you in warm. Or I can bring you in cold.
This is Justin.
The Force will be with you.
This is Josh.
This is Kyle.
This is Maggie.
And we are the Outer Rim Beacon.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday night. Welcome to Outer Rim Beacon, Friday night live stream, ORB Force 99 or half of ORB Force 99. You've got Maggie and Justin tonight. We had Josh is off tonight. He's doing some things, and then Kyle is a little sick. He's a little under the weather, so
he had too much Mantel mix.
He got a little excited at the end of the episode and had a lot of Mantel mix and is not feeling so hot. So he pulled a wrecker and overate the Mantel mix. So welcome. Like I said, I'm Justin. I'm one of your hosts. This is Maggie, beautiful, talented Maggie, your other host for this evening. We got a lot to talk about tonight. There's a couple things I want to dive into. We, of course, have Bad Batch to talk about. But how's everybody doing this Friday night? How's everybody? You doing well, Maggie?
I'm doing good. Yeah. I woke up really early to cover the episode, so I'm a little tired, but
I believe it. Now, did you get any of these like big storms that are kind of coming through the Midwest right now, or no?
I got like a big rainstorm like 2 days ago, and it was like torrential like downpour. So okay. I think it's part of that same front that's pushing weird weather.
We've got some weather that's kind of going through right now. So it was thundering earlier. It was raining a little bit. Hopefully.
Now I'm going to have to check to see if it's going to hit us like smart, because I have to pick up furniture on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's it. We're supposed to get more rain this weekend, which is great because we need it. So
I know. I feel so bad for the West Coast that's getting hit by that like Dust Bowl conditions.
Yeah. Pretty dry. It's pretty dry out there. We needed a little rain here, so happy to have it. Just hopefully it's not too severe and blows my patio furniture everywhere, because that has happened before. I've gone chasing my fire pit across the backyard into the neighbor's yard once or twice. So, well, welcome everybody. Hopefully you got your tall, frothy Star Wars beverage of sort in hand. I've got my Chewbacca can koozie as always. I want to talk a little bit about though. Tonight, I want to dive into this Hasbro stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So frustrating.
Very frustrating. So I don't know if you guys saw or not, but yesterday Hasbro released a couple figures. They released 50th anniversary of Power of the Force. They put out a Luke, a Greedo, and a Han. And last I checked late this afternoon on their site, which I think they were exclusive to Hasbro, Pulse, and Shop Disney, they were still sitting there. So if you want those ones, they're still sitting there.
Nobody wants those.
The three figures that everybody was clamoring for, there was a Bad Batch, there's a Bad Batch Crosshair. There was a Bad Batch version of Rex in the cloak.
So good.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. He's got the little flip down visor, monocular thing on his helmet. These are Black Series, by the way, 6-inch. So, and then there was another one that's a 212th Trooper that was supposed to be exclusive to Walgreens. I don't know about the rest of you, but if you guys tried to get onto Walmart at 1 o'clock and order these figures, I was right on it at that time, had both of them in my cart. I had a small issue putting my credit card in because my credit card expiration is prior to when the figures release. So it wouldn't let me pre-order with a card with an expiration prior to when the figures release, because it doesn't charge your card until, I guess, they come out or they ship it to you or whatever. So I had to fiddle around and put a different card in there with a later expiration date. Finally got it in there. By the time I got it in there, Rex had dropped out of the cart. I still managed to score Crosshair, but Rex had dropped out of the cart. Couldn't get him again. Gone. Just completely gone already. The 212th Trooper from Walgreens never appeared. Never even came up on the Walgreens site at all.
Oh, of course.
Completely. Like, and I have no idea why. They do have some items on there that you can do, but I've not seen pre-orders normally there before. I've seen where you can go in and purchase a figure after it's been released on there, but not a pre-order. So I didn't get that one either. And the Power of the Force ones, I did get the Luke. That's the only one I got. But I'd be remiss if I said I was a little disappointed they didn't have the like super swollen upper bronzy, like upper build He-Man looking body with like the tiny skinny legs, because that's what the Power of the Force line was. And here we have just another repop of Luke that we just had. And the Greedo just came out. That same exact cast, slightly different color, came out in the other card back. So I'm like,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm like, what is happening right now, Hasbro? And we just had this Father's Day event 2 weeks ago. And these
weren't announced.
They weren't announced. They didn't announce them.
I feel like they think they're being clever by doing this like surprise drops, but it doesn't prevent the broken system, which is Walmart.
Yeah.
Like Walmart is such a broken system. Nobody who's real gets those. But then you see them up on eBay. They're not even released yet, and they're on eBay for $200, $300.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did manage to score the 4-pack of vintage collection Bad Batch figures.
Oh, wow. Those sold out so fast.
I was so happy I got that one. But yeah, it was the Rex with the poncho, Tiernan's poncho.
Yes.
And then it had what was the other one? It had Ballast, which we have not seen in Bad Batch yet. It had one of the clone elite troopers, and the other one was Gray, I think, Commander Gray or Captain Gray, I think. So I did manage to score that set, thank goodness. But yeah, as soon as those pre-orders were gone, they were already up on eBay for like $200 and some. It was crazy. I'm like, that's crazy.
I wanted Rex so bad today.
I did too. Yeah.
I clicked on, as soon as it went live, I clicked on the link and it said sold out. Literally, I think it was, what was it, 1 when it went live?
Mm-hmm.
It was 102, I think.
Yeah. I
when the
had
page
it in
actually
my cart
reloaded.
I lost it. I was so pissed. I was like, why was my card not? Well, my card was preloaded and it had a current expiration date.
Happens.
But because the pre-order date was afterwards, I couldn't get it. So, hey, Tiernan, thanks for joining us. I know you're working hard, or maybe hardly working, or working hard at hardly working.
She's the enforcer.
That's the enforcer. She's the wrecker.
She is the wrecker, yeah.
She's the wrecker. Okay. Ed, TK71950. I like the TK ID. What garrison are you in? Let me know. I'd love to know what garrison you're in. But yeah, so that was my struggle today with these figures on a Friday. So it was already a dreary, wet, miserable Friday. That just kind of added to it. And then after I got done with lunch and I finished watching Bad Batch, that made me even more a little bit dreary because Omega's caught. And I was just like, man, I don't know, this is supposed to be a happy Friday, a good Bad Batch Friday. And that's what I got. So I was a little disheartened by that, but I am sure I'm just going to keep checking the Walmart and see
I don't trust
what
Walmart
comes up.
anymore.
So there's a lot of people that would love to get rid of the what do I want to say, the merchandise or the store exclusives, if you will. And I get it. Like the secondary market for those is hot right now. Like if you can find it and you can get it, you can make money off of it. But for those of us that actually collect figures that want them in our collection to look at and, keep, it's a little disheartening when you see them going.
What's so weird to me is like, I still think of action figures like as toys, not as collectibles, because I grew up in an era of like, I bought all of the Lord of the Rings toys and like played with those action figures until I broke some of them. And so the fact that so many of these toys that I like as a child would have loved are exclusive to certain stores and you can only get them when they drop online. it's weird. It's weird how in like the last 20 years, action figures shifted from like a toy to currency.
Yeah.
And it's really disheartening. It's like, is this capitalism?
I said that to Kyle. I said action figures are the new currency. If you can
really
find it in
are.
the store and purchase it and you know what it's going for, you go, hey, guess what? I got this Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker right here. He's currently going for X number of dollars. Anybody want to trade? Or they just sell it and pay for whatever they want. So yes, I did open this one. I got him in the mail the other day. And I did open him because his card was, the bubble was wrecked and the card was wrecked. And I'm like, you know what? This was actually the very first figure that I owned with the X-Wing. And it's down in my cases. So when this popped up on Walmart again at retail, when it's currently going for like $50 some, I was like, heck yeah. So, but the bubble was trashed. So he's an opener. He's going to stand down there with my old Luke. So yeah, he's cool looking. He's really cool looking. I like him. So, well, Ed, glad to have you. I'm glad you're a longtime listener. Glad to have you on watching with us. That's awesome. I'm going to put this out there right now. Next week, we'll do a game and we'll do a prize. And I promise I'm going to pick a sweet prize for y'all. So tell your family, tell your friends, or don't if you want a better chance at winning the prize. But tell your family, tell your friends, have them come watch us. We'd love to have them, but I will pick a sweet prize for next week. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it'll be a sweet prize. We'll just call it sweet prize. Anyway. So, yes, Tiernan, you are exactly right. It was Sad Batch Friday.
It was.
I didn't even know. It was such a good, I liked the episode, and Maggie, we can talk about this because I know we're going to go in more depth on when we record next week, but we can talk a little bit about this where I liked the episode because of the action and everything. From an action standpoint, it was on point. It had drama with it. It had
the music is incredible. I mean, that was something that I said in my review was like, what this TV show does really well at is incredible action sequences and really incredible music.
Yeah.
Like every single episode has fantastic battles. Like today, I almost forget that it's a animated series because the combat is so good. Everything that is so well lit and well constructed, and you forget that you're watching a 22-minute cartoon.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat. Like I'm sitting there watching it at lunch, and I'm on the edge of my seat like this. Like, what is happening right now? Like we're teaching kids how to disarm bombs in this episode. Like
when they were in the ion engine.
Yeah, we're in an ion engine. Let's use more explosives on something that's gonna ignite in about 2 minutes.
Out. I was like, y'all gonna blow yourselves up.
Yes.
And then when Crosshair gets burnt up, I was like, oh, this is this is not a kid's show. It's
he was all bandaged. I don't know what happened to his foot, but his foot had a boot on it, and he's looking like Darkman over there.
I know.
Yeah, he was looking like Darkman with the pat like this over and the one eye kind of sticking out.
You're so close to being Darth Vader. You got a little breathing apparatus on.
He's gonna be like Tech. He's more machine than man now, and he's gonna have all these bionic parts that just enhance him even more, and he's gonna be like that boss in a video game that takes you 20 times to beat because he's so overdone. So yeah, it had great action. Music was great. I thought the episode, it was a little dark, but that was the setting. So when you see the specialist troops, they were a little dark. I thought that was a little bit, yes, it was beyond messed up. And I think that's, pre-show, Maggie and I were kind of talking a little bit about the character development of some of the characters in Bad Batch and how some of those relationships, I think that Maggie, to what you were saying, that you want to feel aren't fully developed yet. So
yes,
when we see these, we're not always getting the full 100% feels that we think we should get, because Hunter and Omega isn't quite fully flushed
formed
out yet. The the Bad Batch and the separation from Crosshair isn't, fully flushed. Like they haven't had that second encounter where like, oh, I hate you and we still love you. Come back to us. Oh, we hate you. Like that hasn't been flushed out yet.
Yeah. Well, it was like, I felt like that moment was we've been building to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they haven't mentioned Crosshair that much, like Wrecker's been the only one to mention Crosshair, and they haven't had any of that like reeling with his loss yet. Like I don't feel like anybody's dealt with that emotional impact of losing him, and then they finally see him, which is something they've been presumably leading up to the last 7 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get it, and it's like, there's still a chance we can take your chip out and then shoot the kid, and then, okay, well, I guess we're going to blow up our brother. Like, none of that, like, they were missing so many of the beats.
Yes, yeah.
And that was something that I felt like has been lacking even in, like, the first episode, like, when we get Hunter seeing Omega that first time, that emotional beat isn't fully developed. It's like, it's told to you, but it's not fully there yet. It's like, there's a lot of really great, like, in essence, but we haven't really gotten into that. And I'm hoping, if we do get a second season, that some of this maybe will be fleshed out once they don't feel like they have to rush to get a story out. But, before the show, we were talking about like when Tups had the
his chip
activate.
Went haywire, yeah.
And we had so much of the emotional fallout, not only for him, but for the clones around him and everything that was going on, and like the discovery that there was something wrong with them. And, part of that was because we had, I guess that was what, season 5, season 6?
It was later. It was one of the later ones. Yeah.
Maybe season 6, but we'd had those like 6 seasons of build up with those characters so that it really packed that punch. And I just think that's what's missing. It doesn't mean it's a bad show or I dislike it. I want more for it. I want that. I want to feel sucker punched when, Crosshairs, they were being like, fire up the engines, bake my brothers. Like I want like a moment of him being like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And I was hoping for that today too. Like after he got fried himself and he was just taking a little nap. I have a picture of it here.
His crispy face.
Moment.
I was kind of hoping that like here, because where'd they say it's on the front right? It's on this part of their
I was hoping he had hit it or something.
I was hoping he had hit it or something, and like he may have like had an issue with it, but clearly not.
And then he comes to and he's like, get after them. And I was like, why?
He's like bandaged up, like, go, keep going. He's like, okay, he's going to the end.
Reflection. Because like we kind of got like a hint of that when he came back from gunning down the refugees, and he's sitting in their former room and he's looking at the little things that were parts of, Wrecker's space and Hunter's stuff and like the picture and all the stuff that's there. But so much of it is subjective and it's what we're putting into it, not what it's giving us. And that is frustrating as a creative person that like writes stories and stuff. Cause I want my own content to impact. I don't want you to have to apply information to get that.
And it's hard too when they're doing like, the 20-some minute episodes. It's hard to cram a lot of she got the extra crispy treatment, not the original recipe. He got the extra crispy.
He does kind of look like a chicken wing.
He is, he does the little chicken legs. It's hard though too because they're trying to cram a lot into 20-some minutes,
much.
right? Versus when you're writing a short story or a novel or a book or something like that. You can cram as much detail in there as you want. I think in some stories you have to be careful with what you're writing too, because you don't want to overdo it and overflood the reader with too much detail. I know we're going to talk about it at some point. Thrawn Ascendancy, the Chaos Rising. There is so much going on with characters in that book. And they're all named with like, I know I've been doing the alliterations with alien species on the show intros, but I mean, it's like lactose,
lactose intolerant.
latchkey. I mean, there's like, they all begin with L, and I get
really
it. They're
do.
like, they're family names, I think or it's like their clan names or something. They all begin with L, and then you got characters like Yopo Neck. And I'm like, where did this come from? And so,
the key is being economical with your storytelling. Is you don't want to waste time on things that don't benefit where the story is going. It was just like,
let's stay in the L's. Let's stay in the G's. Let's stay in the R's and just go that route. But
it was like last week when I was hoping for like a moment between Rex and Echo, and we had a prime opportunity for that with them getting the chips taken out, and then like Rex standing in the hallway looking at his helmet. Like that was a great moment where you could have had Echo be like, "I'm sure it was hard," or something like that, to reflect on what Rex has gone through with his entire unit turning against them. Right. And then we have like the one throwaway mention of Echo mentioning Rex in today's episode. And I'm like, but you weren't even there for that like conversation. Mm-hmm. Like that was between Hunter and Rex, not like there was no Echo. And it was the little things where I'm like, I just want this. Like, I don't want to have to go to AO3. I don't want to read fan fiction to get like the content. You know, I want those connections at 5:30 on a Friday morning. I want to cry.
Early. You were watching early.
I was. And then I went straight back to sleep.
I will say, so I dug Crosshair. I loved the new garb, like fully decked out, like his backpack with
the design,
his rifle with the like fold out scope on the back was sick. That thing is huge, by the way. That is a massive sniper rifle.
So good. I know when it fell next to him, it was the same length as him.
It's like, that's why it like has to fold up on his backpack because he can't wear it when it's just put together. Impressive. But super cool look. You know, the specialists I think were exactly what he was training them to be. They were they were thinking like him. He was ahead of the rest of that group the entire time. He knew exactly what they were doing. He knows them. They did things by the book, but it was just, I really dug the whole, like him coming in. And I think that was, for me, part of that whole first encounter was like the Bad Batch knew they couldn't have that one-on-one moment with Crosshair because they're literally surrounded by a bunch of other clones with chips that are programmed at this point to go, you're either a Jedi and we kill you, or you're a traitor to the Empire and we kill you. And that's it. There's no stun mode on their guns. There's no taking anybody prisoner. It's, we're going to kill the bad bat. Like, we're just going to kill you. And that's why Crosshair, even at that point, was like, target the kid. Like, he doesn't care. Their job is to eliminate the Bad Batch and all of them. It is the Kaminoans' job and the bounty hunter's job to rescue or claim back the young clone, which was very interesting. So, and I know we'll touch on that in a little bit here, but it was a lot. It was a lot in there. I think the one thing that I really, really dug, and I don't know, you guys in the comments, please feel free to chime in. The one thing that I really, really loved was the conversation between Tech and Omega when they were up on the bridge and he's downloading the information. And she says, Tech, what was the war like?
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, it was a campaign of battles in which two sides fought against each other and blah, blah, blah. He rattles off this just scientific, by the book answer. And I think when you look at the other Bad Batch members, Wrecker, Hunter, Echo, even Crosshair, I think probably to a certain extent would give you more of a mixed emotion feeling kind of thing. But you could tell Tech, like his special enhancement as being a scientist is just literally that. It's just the science. It's just the explanation. That's all that exists for him. I thought that conversation, like, it's very kind of subtle, but I thought that was very telling to your point. Like, you're not going to get much more character development out of, I don't think he feels like that. I really don't. I think his enhancement just makes him super smart and above all that. And he's just like, nope, it's just the science. Like, I could be wrong. Maybe by the end of the Bad Batch seasons and whenever we're done with this show, maybe he sheds a tear and I'm wrong about it. But I think that's the thing is I think he's just literally the science man. Like, he has no feelings about it one way or the other. So
yeah.
I really enjoyed that part. It was interesting to hear. I loved Wrecker's love of explosives. very on point for his character. Really kind of surprised that's not like one of the first things they pull off those ships, though, is explosives or any kind of armaments.
I was shocked by how much
Like-
was not stripped of that.
Yes.
I
Like-
just have to say, there's
Go
no
ahead.
greater love story than Wrecker and his torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
His love for that torpedo. I loved he was just like walking around holding it.
It was like his little puppy. He's like, look, I got a puppy.
He was so
Um,
happy.
And he straight up chucked it at somebody, at one of those troops, and he fell out the hatch and was like, ah, as he's falling off the edge. It was just his love of the explosives, but I was like, I'm shocked. I know there's a lot of ships. I do. That scrapyard is huge. It's the entire planet. But you can't tell me that the first thing that you don't pull off those ships is armaments, any kind of weapons, and information. And then you scrap the outside. These guys are just like pulling parts off of ships and like scrapping the metal on the outside. I'm like, how are you going to leave a working, operable Venator class ship sitting there full of armaments and vehicles and cannons and everything else? I'm like, that's just crazy. So, Noah, thank you. I appreciate it. This is a Target special shirt. I love this shirt.
It's so perfect for our podcast.
Yes, it's a beautiful AT-AT shirt, Josh. It's a AT-AT somewhere over here. AT-AT shirt.
Not an AT-AT?
It's not an AT-AT shirt. Or maybe that's Noah's thing, AT-AT shirt, because he's got periods in there.
I know, I was like...
But yeah, it's I love this shirt. Super comfortable. Well made Target.
I mean, for the plot.
Yeah.
I love Target shirts. They have the best t-shirts.
The red Millennium Falcon shirt. There is a picture that you can do at Star Wars Celebration if you have the red Millennium Falcon shirt. I don't know if they still do that or not, but there was like just a big group photo. You wear your red. It's just like this, only has the Millennium Falcon on it, and it's red. And they do there was a big group photo of just everybody that had the red Millennium Falcon shirt. It was hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah. I will say this though. We talked about it on the show, the 6 and 7 episodes that we just released. We did both of them. It's a little bit longer of our podcast episode, but because we were trying to get both episodes in there. But that was my prediction, is we pick up right where we left off, right on Braca, on the Scrapper planet. Crosshair comes back in, so I got a prediction right.
You got it right. I was like, Justin was right.
Go me. That doesn't happen often, so I will I will enjoy that one for a little bit. So
who do you think, what other cameos? Because obviously we got Cad Bane today, which was hilarious because off camera last week I was talking about Cad Bane.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I got that prediction right.
You're just like
I was just
force sensing who's coming up next, right?
We both knew what was happening.
I think Fennec Shand will be on this episode.
I hope she comes. I'm sure she will come back. I would love to see a War of the Bounty Hunters type situation, since clearly the Cameoans, I always say that I'm wrong.
Cameoans? El Cameoans? El Caminoans? Bunch of alien species run around in El Camino.
those folks from Camino said that the bounty hunters, and so I wonder if they've just put out like a full-on like get this child and bring the asset back to me. So will we see like 13-year-old Boba Fett being the little punk that he is? Because I would love to see him turn up to take this child and then realize it's his genetic sibling.
Yeah, and
he's got beef with Cad, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So I don't know where Boba's at right now, because I know he's not with Aura Singh anymore, because that whole thing went south. But yes, there was
13 going on 14.
Yeah, and there was the removed or the never filmed or made Boba versus Cad Bane standoff, which is how Boba got the dent in the helmet. I don't know. I don't know if he'll show up or if we're gonna get. I mean, I'd love to see like a Bosk in there, if he shows up somewhere, or Serapis, like some of those other bounty hunters that we've seen. Embo, with the little dog that he's got, like the Massive, I think that he has. I would love to see him show up again.
Because it seems like we're going to get other bounty hunters. That line couldn't have been a throwaway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it was just alluding to Cad.
Yeah,
but I feel
who
like
are you going to get that's better than Cad, though, at this point? At this point, really? Who are you going to get that's better than Cad Bane to go get this kid? And Fennec Shand is great.
Yeah, I mean, she whooped their butts, but
she is new to the game.
She is new to the game.
Cad Bane has been doing this.
And he does it so well.
Since early in the Clone Wars, and he does it very, very well. Yeah. Oh, that was such a cool moment. Yes, the Old West. The OK Corral.
Yeah.
Standoff here with the draw, and Hunter got smoked. Spoiler alert. Hunter got smoked. Fast. And Cad Bane is not using stun at this point. He straight up hit him with a bolt in the chest. So I would say the end of this, the next cameo is the Gorax. Oh, there's Josh. Oh, see, there's a jokester in every crowd. Dang it. How do we get rid of that guy? How do we get rid of that guy? I think and I mean that ending blew me away though. After the shot, and we'll talk a lot about Cad Bane, but after the shot, when the rest of the crew finally gets there and they're like trying to get him up. Oh, good Lord, is that ugly?
Just for Josh.
When they get him up and you get the first person HUD display from inside the helmet.
That was great.
That was fantastic. Like, I'm trying to think if we have done that anywhere in Clone Wars or Rebels or anything to that effect, where you got that look through the helmet as like a first person shooter game or something like that. And
the labored breathing. I think the only time we got that was Darth Vader. I think, didn't they do that in the animated version of him becoming Darth Vader? From the inside of the visor as it was lowered on, or am I thinking of the movie?
Well, in episode 3, yes, as they were lowering the visor on, you saw the red, but like you didn't get that like, hey, he's sitting up, and you get that full spectrum of like him looking around the room. Really, here you got done. Hunter like sitting up. You can hear the like the hard breathing in the helmet. It was this is exactly right. Keister 1138. Exactly right. That's exactly what I was thinking was the old the Republic Commando video game.
That's what I'm thinking of.
On point. It was so cool. And like you can hear the concern from Tech and Wrecker and Echo trying to get him on the ship.
Because they said his stomach plate had been damaged. So like he's probably got actual gut shot. He got a gut shot. A
straight up blaster bolt to the chest. And that armor, as we know in Star Wars, does not do anything. So that scene though, getting him on the ship and trying to get out of there was just amazing. I got goosebumps right now just talking about that. That was a beautiful, beautifully done scene from that first person point of view. And I loved it. I hope they get into that a little bit more. There was a question I think that Ed asked here earlier. Do we think that the Bad Batch will get back Crosshair and get the chip out of his brain? I'm gonna go with yes, but I don't know that it'll be this season. I would imagine if they do a second season, it would probably be somewhere in there. Unless they do it where like halfway through like the second half, like 4 episodes in, they get him isolated, they get the chip out, and then they bring him back in to go after something bigger like Rampart, and trying to take down maybe what Rampart's doing with the specialist soul troops that he's doing. That's the only other thing I could think. But yeah, I would say yes. I don't know. It's hard because like there's been a lot of surprises in this show that I actually wasn't expecting, and it's hard to sit there and say I think they're going to go this way when I know they're probably going to go complete opposite direction of what I'm thinking, and I'm just going to be like, oh, I got it wrong again. Dang it.
I love this theory. I have seen so many people theorize that they'll take the chip out of Crosshair's head, and then he'll be like, actually,
Ooh.
I'm for the Empire.
Ooh, that is dark.
And I hope if they do that, that we'll get the actual emotional impact of it.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a good point. Like, he's like, no, you're still in the wrong. We should listen to the Empire and do what they're telling us to do because we're trained soldiers. That's a really good speculation. I like it.
He definitely didn't seem to be resisting it the first time around. Whereas we see that Wrecker resisted it for a little bit there. I mean, they clearly were going on a bunch of missions in between the Spice Girls and Rex, if they racked up that many purchases. So he probably held out for like a month-ish, I'd say. Maybe. Yep. I mean, that's guesstimate that everyone has how long it was. So
I mean, some of these shuttle trips to other planets aren't exactly a day. You know what I mean? It takes like X number of hours and days to get out there and back. Yeah. So it's probably been maybe a month or so. So Tiernan, at least it wasn't a nut shot a la my main man Boba. Tamara Morrison didn't have anybody in that hot tub with him. I don't know if you saw that clip on Twitter. He didn't have anybody in there with him. And if you're digging the Tamara, he was by himself after 7 months of shooting. So hit him up, see if he's available. Maybe he's free.
We'll just have to go to New Zealand.
It's like, I've been shooting Book of Boba for 7 months. I'm gonna get in my hot tub.
I just want him just to record every single piece of pre-Book of Boba Fett publicity from that hot tub. Everything.
I can see him like doing like voiceover stuff, sitting in the hot tub, and like you just hear the bubbles kind of like the jets running. Like, he recording in his hot tub? Yeah, I'm in my hot tub. How are you doing? Okay. This isn't really working for our audio, sir. It's all right. It's okay. Good question. Who else do I think will show up in the show?
I still think we'll see Rex again. I think we'll see Fennec again.
Somebody we haven't seen. How about somebody we haven't seen yet?
What about Hera?
A little Rebels tie in there. Good point. We did see him in the beginning. I could see a reprise of Kanan later on.
Oh, I would love that.
I know. I mean, it's a character that we've seen, obviously, but I could see a reprise of that. Maybe they're on a different planet. Caleb's still running from the Empire. He encounters Hunter, recognizes him, or say he's observing like as a cloaked figure, and says, I recognize those guys. They helped me earlier. I can go help them. And then he,
repays that debt.
Yes, he repays that debt. Still part Jedi at this point before he kind of really loses his way, and before he finds Hera again. And I could see that. Like a reprieve of Kanan coming back in. I would love that, to be honest. But I don't know if. And at that point, you're like, oh, because at that point maybe they knew him as Caleb, right, in that first episode. And at this point, and when he says, oh, thanks, Caleb, and then he's like, oh, it's Kanan now. Like, he's changed the name. He's in hiding. I think that would be sweet.
I still think we might see Ahsoka. I still feel like there's room for that. Appearance. Just because it's Dave, and I know like Dave's involved, so I'm sure he's trying to find a way to bring Ahsoka. And I also think that logically, with the live action series that they're setting up, it would make sense to reintroduce characters that we might see again in subsequent material, just to keep them in the public eye.
Tiernan's wanting Stinky the Hutt.
Tiernan. No.
I don't know that we'll see Stinky, like a teenager Stinky. He's like he's like the equivalent of Groot at this point, just angsty and
oh my god,
foul-mouthed and like
a teenage Stinky the Hutt,
swearing in Huttese, like, and they're like, wow, the mouth on this kid, like, what is going on?
Rhoda.
Jolie went to see a younger Thrawn, like in the first Thrawn book. Yep. That would be good. I don't know that we'll get him here. A Kanan and young Boba team up. I mean, Boba at this point,
It's like
I think,
14.
yeah, but he's
But
about
like,
the
he's
same
a
age.
punk.
But I think he learned a little bit from his mistakes with Aurra Singh and Bosk and the group that he was running with at that point. And like I said, I wish Kyle was on because he would know. He could tell you exactly where Boba's at in Clone Wars because I forget where that left off.
Yeah, I can't
prior
for the life
to
of
his
me
encounter
remember.
with Cad, but he could tell you like probably instantly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I could see that maybe because if Boba is like, hey, I'm just a man trying to make my way in the galaxy. I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the galaxy. Right. I could see that. I don't know. Series magical force animal. It's going to be a puffer pig. So go get your puffer pig pins right now from Rebel Art Empire and get them before they're gone. It's going to be a force sensitive puffer pig. Like he just balloons up when
that.
danger is coming. I don't know. I don't know if Ventress put him in a crate or not. I can't remember. Like I said, I haven't gone back and rewatched Clone Wars in a hot minute. I went back and watched season 7 prior to diving into Bad Batch. And then I always go back through and I rewatch the movies like friggin' all the time. Like that's what I do. Like anytime I travel, if I just want downtime, it's always playing in the back. And I start at 1 and go through 9 and I just rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. And I mix Solo in there and Rogue One, and that's usually what I do. So Jolie, Grief Karga in his Guild Prime. Maybe. Is he in his Guild Prime now, or is he in his Guild Prime during Mando? Because I mean, after Mando, he had some money in the bank, if you will. He had that good Beskar cash money. What do you think about Toto coming back?
Oh, Toto.
I thought he blew up. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, didn't he blow him up, or did he just rebuild him?
Maybe he just rebuilt him.
I can't remember. Like, I gotta go back and watch Clone Wars now because now we've got Cad Bane back in. I have to go back and watch all the Cad Bane centric episodes just to get back on track because now he's in Bad Batch, and I'm like, oh well, crap.
I know.
This is what they do. They bring characters in, and
I seriously was like not expecting to see Cad Bane. Like,
no.
I know we talked about him last week after the show, and like his character ended up becoming cool, but I just was not expecting that coolness to carry on into the Bad Batch.
No, and I think I said this on the podcast, is like, shame on me, because when we were trying to predict who the hologram was, right, at the end of that episode, I'm like, oh,
obvious.
It's Bail, it's obvious, or it's Ahsoka, it's obvious, like, and then they're like, oh no, it's Rex, and I'm like, I didn't even think that, but this is what Star Wars does. Mm-hmm. They subconsciously get you thinking other things, and like, well, it has to be this person because it's somebody directing Rafa and Trace Martez and helping them. So it's got to be somebody that's knowledgeable and involved in that, and it's got to be Bail or Senator Tucci or something like that. And like, nope, it's Rex. And I'm like, well, it's stupid me. Like, why did I do that? Like, that was ridiculous. Didn't even cross my mind. But this is what they do. So when they said bounty hunters at the beginning of the episode, you're just like, oh, cool, bounty hunter. Probably Fennec Shand again. Like, maybe she's back, right? And then here comes Cad Bane out of nowhere, just standing there looking all cool with his hat down, Old West style.
He was just waiting.
I love the fact that he sounded a little older in this. His voice was a little bit deeper, a little raspier, I thought. Whereas in Clone Wars, it was a little bit more, I don't want to say digitalized, but like his tubes, he sounded a little bit younger, a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper. Here, he sounds a little bit older, and Like he's been around and he's just like been doing his Cad Bane things for, you know, a couple years, and now he's hired by Kaminoans to go kidnap Omega. Kaminoans.
See, I can say it. Kaminoans.
Yeah, but yeah, out of nowhere, and like everybody was just like, "Whoa, what? Cad Bane's back? Get out of here!" I loved it. Loves Cad Bane's awesome. And it's sad Kyle's not on here because I know Kyle loves Cad Bane. He's a big Cad Bane fan. So I'm sorry he's at home sick, puking his guts out. Not good. We talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but yes, the smoke bomb thing I didn't have necessarily a problem with. I thought that was kind of funny. But the fact that he has her like disarming mines, like training her how to disarm mines.
That was so stressful. I was like, you cannot scare a child like that. And she tripped and everything. Like she hurt herself. She's fallen in line with Wrecker. She's a klutz.
Yeah, she would have been toast if that was a real one. But he's like, no, he's like, you honestly think I would have had you training on a live thing? He's like, come on now. And that's where, to your point, Maggie, I think some of those more dad moments come from Wrecker than they do from Hunter, because Hunter's like, Wrecker's trying to teach her and like, hey, this is how you're going to get by. These are the things that you need to know to navigate what we're going to be doing. And that's totally a dad move. Like, oh, here, like, I mean, not disarm a bomb. I would never tell my kid to disarm this bomb and it be a real one. But that's the thing, is where it's like the switch thing. Like you make them think it's real, but when they mess up, it's not actually going to impact anything. But that way they learn.
They learn a lesson.
They learn a lesson, and when they do face the real challenge, they don't fret over it and they don't melt down over it. They know what to do. They know how to handle it, and they can deal with it. So, I thought it was a total dad move to just kind of let her learn how to do it and teach her how to do it. And
it's like cool. I've seen people compare the Bad Batch to like Full House, and in that, you have like the uncle figures and the father figures, but I feel like that's not entirely accurate, because even in Full House, Danny Tanner had so many of the emotional moments with the girls. Jesse had fun things like Wrecker's, like the fun uncle, but there was still that like learning moments were with the father. And so that's what, if they really want us to believe in Hunter as the father, I need to see more of it. We hear that they told her not to talk to strangers after that whole incident, but like, wouldn't have been great to see that moment between them, like talking about it and being like, I was really scared, like Hunter expressing those things. Like as it stands, Arzu had said it in her review over the Geeky Waffle, but that it feels more like he's lost a soldier, not a daughter. But they want us to feel like it's a daughter loss kind of thing. And like, I'm just wanting those emotional things. So I'm hoping next week we get some sort of reflection for him. But I guarantee it'll be Wrecker who's wrecked that she's gone, and Hunter's just like,
and this is so. Hunter has, like you're saying, Maggie, Hunter hasn't fully come to terms with his position as a father.
I'm hoping.
Now, I would say this. The fact that he did the standoff with Cad Bane, he put his life down. Sacrificed himself to try to protect
her.
Omega.
Oh yeah, he's good at protecting her.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. But if that maybe some of those more intimate moments had been laid in the first 6 or 7 episodes leading up to this one,
like a knife
that moment would have hit a little bit hard. I would do anything for my kids. Like,
yeah, you get that because you are a father.
I would stand in front of them and take the bullet to protect my kids. I would, just like what Hunter did. But to your point, when you don't see those intimate moments in that character connection with them, it's like, well, yes, he's still protecting her, but he's protecting her because it's like a job for him. It's not necessarily like she's my own kid or she's really one of us.
Now I want to see him wrecked over her loss next week. Like, I would like to see some emotion in him that reflecting, like, I did everything I could, I've let her down, and that I've let her down because I care for her, not because I feel obligated.
Right.
That's where it still feels like an obligation. Like, he tried to send her back in the first episode, and now we need to see why he cares so much now. Or in the episode with Cut, we see these like little moments where he like it starts to edge towards that realization what like real emotions are, but then like hedges away from them. And I hope that that's maybe part of the journey for the characters. And you know, we don't know a lot about the clones aside from Wrecker, and you know, maybe this is helping them to slowly find their individuality and who they are outside of being part of the, you know, Republic.
Right.
Which we've seen glimmers of that. We saw with the moment with Hunter and Rafa talking about like, you know, which side of this are you going to be on.
Yep.
But we haven't seen the full deliberation of that yet and the connection. So I'm sure they're going to be payoff for that in the future. I want it now.
Yeah, which I mean, Tiernan's right. Like it took forever for Din to come around, but that was 2 full seasons. Well, season and a half, really.
Yeah,
for like
season and a half. For
Din
that.
to fully kind of come around to that, with less,
especially
episodes.
in that second season.
Yeah,
because we see him like laughing, and we see the cracks in his helmet.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that yet with Hunter, and I felt like a lot of that growth that we had in the Mando from a season and a half got pushed into that first episode for Hunter. So we haven't got room for the characters to breathe yet, and I'm ready for it. Like, I want it. Yeah.
And I think you're right, Maggie. When we get our next episode, I'm hoping, to your point, Hunter is well, not hoping he's down now, but like I'm hoping he's okay. But like if you see him distraught that he lost Omega and he lost in that fight with Cad Bane, the others, Wrecker, Tech, Echo,
also share those.
Maybe even get a hold of Rex, because Rex, I'm sure, knows who Cad Bane is and is fully aware of his capabilities, and they pull him back in. That they rally around him and say, "Look, you know what? We promise we're going to get her back. We're gonna go rescue her. We're gonna get her back." And then we find that out. So
you talking about nope, I hit the wrong one. To you talking about Rex, I like this comment about how Hunter had said that he was on a different path. And if they do pull back into Rex, I hope that that's them shifting into that path, because I think the path with Rex not doing dirty deeds for Sid is probably a better path for them and their skill sets.
Well, I mean, they were straight going to be arms dealers.
I know.
Are you serious?
I was like, y'all, did you not? Also, okay.
Hunter's just like, let's get these weapons and become arms dealers. We don't care who Sid sells them to.
Okay,
like, what just happened right now?
When Hunter was like, we're going to become arms dealers, and then go get that really important information off the Jedi cruiser, and just like, we'll just sell that too. And I'm like, Hunter, did what Rafa say to you do nothing? Did you not listen? Do you not care?
Yeah.
I was like, Hunter, you're dubious.
I was like, what, you know, and in the first couple of episodes, he wasn't understanding. He didn't get it, right? And Sid's like, no, this is how you do this, right? And now Hunter's full on like, yeah, I get it now. Like, you want weapons, you want intel, you want all this stuff, and we're going to get money for it. That's what we need. Let's go. Like,
and who's to say after all this blows over, he's not like, we could go back to Braca. We could pick up the rest of the stuff. And
I think, and maybe this is that wake up call that he needed to go, look, the crew was right. We should have left when Rex left, not stayed to try to get money. Because if you would have followed Rex.
Echo's the one who says that. I feel like Echo would be the one to be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that was like, why are we becoming arms dealers? Like,
is that who that was?
Yeah, it was Echo.
Okay.
It was Echo who was like,
yeah. Echo has sense to go, no, we shouldn't do this. We need to go with Rex. And Hunter's like, it'll be all right. We need money. Like, let's just get all these weapons and bombs and just sell them on the black market.
The Empire, I guess.
It was just a complete 180 from where we were in the beginning, and he had no clue, to he's full on Tony Stark in Iron Man 1 right now. Like, I don't care who I'm selling my weapons to.
That's exactly who I thought of. I was like, well, visually, I get it.
He's become Tony Stark selling weapons. Yeah,
Oh my god.
I hope like when it comes back and it's Echo or somebody that's like, or that's the wake up call that Hunter
That's what I'm
needed
hoping.
to say, look, if we get Omega back, we need to put ourselves on the right path where we're not going to put her in this kind of danger again. And we do something to, because they can't do it by themselves. And I think that's what that's what they realized here. As good as the Bad Batch is, they can't do it by themselves.
No.
They need help.
And Echo was right. If they had left with Rex, none of this would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would have left Baraka before the Empire could have got there. It would have been.
Cat Bane got there. Yeah.
So Hunter has made a few tactical mistakes because he's no longer working as a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole new territory for him to figure it out.
That is the essentially the folly of the Bad Batch is without structure and without orders, they don't know how to operate. We saw that when they were trying to rescue the Rancor. Like they just like scoped it out one time, charged right in there, had like didn't bother to like lay out security or watch patterns, or they were just in there real quick and trying to get it and go. And without orders and schematics and intel, they don't know how to use those skills to the best of their ability. And without, I hate to say it, without Crosshair, they're down that specialist to be kind of their overwatch from above. Like even like Hunter's like, well, that's Crosshair's job. Like he's like, I don't know how to look out from the top. I don't normally have to do that. So they're not a fully functioning group at this point. And it's hard to watch because you want to watch the Bad Batch at their best in operating as a complete unit. And we're not getting that. We're getting Sad Batch, as Tiernan called him.
Yes.
It is very much Sad Batch. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, it was a solid episode. It was so good. It was like the action was on point. I mean, here, let's put some charges around a ring that's about to light fire in 2 minutes and blow the cap off so that it just burns straight and it doesn't ignite us and we'll just fall down. And with a kid in the thing with us, like we're just going to do this. Let's go with it. So, yeah, I agree, Tiernan. Echo is the smartest in the group, not Tech.
It truly is.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But I think Echo's, he's what, Gen 1? So he's been around a lot longer and has experience and he knows. So
Jolie's got a point.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a lot of those connections are like they're very surface level, and audiences, especially those of us who are on Twitter and interact with like fan works and stuff, can definitely dig deeper, but the show hasn't dug deeper yet.
Now here's a good question. Let me ask this. Do we think that like this conversation that Jolie's talking about here, the Hunter Echo dynamic, do we think it's what it's been where Echo suggests something and it's still a continuous like conversation or talk or dialogue? Or do we think that escalates and Echo goes, look, Hunter, I'm tired of this crap you're pulling, and it actually like gets to be a little bit more of an argument. Because there's he says, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?
Because there's the whole fact that Echo is not technically one of the Bad Batch. Mm-hmm. He's not. I mean, he's a machine, but he's not them, and he was added to the group. So there's going to naturally be friction, and I would assume that Echo probably doesn't feel like a fully integrated part of them. Mm-hmm. Because of their open disdain for regs, which he's technically still a reg. He just has some extra parts.
He can scomp in.
So I feel like, yes, he's got his little extra part. I feel like that would be natural for them to butt heads in terms of command. Now, obviously, like there's the fact that they're all clones. They're all taught to follow whoever is in their chain of command. So Echo might not question. He might just casually suggest in that same way that Rex does when dealing with anybody above him.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that. I would love to see some sort of internal, because so far everything is happening to the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch isn't really having anything happen. They're not really doing anything. Everything's happening to them. They're reacting to every new thing, but they're not consciously making those like choices for themselves. A lot of things happen to them. They don't really get the time to fully react because it's big battles and action sequences and combat. We need those quiet moments, those in-between moments.
And I think maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. When we come back, Hunter is okay. He's distraught about losing Omega. The group is basically telling him, the group is basically telling him it's okay. We're going to get her back. We're going to get her back. And he's feeling that grief, right?
I need the grief.
And that's the moment where Echo says, look, dude, you are the leader of this group. Get your crap together. Get your crap together. Stop making bad decisions and lead this freaking group. And then that's where Hunter and that's Hunter's wake up call. And he's like, you know what? You're right, Echo. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. And that's that moment. Maybe that's what it is.
Because I feel like there's the whole element of Hunter is that he is a soldier. He has literally been trained. Like his genes are to be a good leader. In battle, he is no longer at war. So he doesn't have the tools built in. And I mean, they're 10 years old technically. They've only been around for 10 years. They've just aged quickly. So, but they've
growth.
They only really have 10 years of experience as being a being. And if the only thing they've done is being on the battle and in battle on the battlefield, which echoes back to the conversation between Tech and Omega. Yeah, it's just a series of tactical maneuvers and all of this. That's the entire Bad Batch. That's all they've ever done. So now that they have technically a new objective, they've just entered into the retrieval objective. They might have that time to be back in their element.
Yeah. Dave, give me a call. I'll come right for you. I think that's the scene that you need. So if you haven't, if you need to do some quick changes already,
it's a week.
We can get it in there. Yeah, we can. I don't know how good your animators are, but we can get with the story group and we'll just put it down and we'll get it in there.
Yeah, it's fine. I think actually we can just get Dee to come in and just redub the lines. There's probably a scene that already exists that'll work. Just move them out a little. It's fine. It's fine.
Dee, and you can't say enough about Dee Bradley Baker. Just from what I gather and what I've seen, everybody comments and quotes on him. Just a consummate professional. Goes in and goes to work every day. Not big-headed about anything. Just a really down-to-earth guy that loves playing Star Wars characters and clones. So it is the Dee Bradley Baker show, and it is awesome.
I couldn't unhear the Wrecker thing that we talked about, his extra little when he was laughing in the episode this morning. I was like, oh my god, I can't unhear it now. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
I wouldn't do that to you. He's like the happy uncle that just happy to be there, and he loves life though. I think Wrecker just deep down is a dude that loves life. He loves people, and he's just a happy guy. It was good to hear Corey Burton back as Cad Bane again. Loved that, and Seth Green back as Toto 360. I know he's played a couple characters in the Star Wars universe, but it was good to have him back as Toto, because I liked Toto as a character just early on. He's kind of a goofy droid, but it was good to have him back. And I would love to meet Dee. Dee would be a cool dude to meet. Hopefully he's doing a meet and greet or a signing while there, because he'd be a cool guy to meet. And he's got a great clone voice. All of them. Every clone in the known Star Wars universe. So I don't know. Maggie, what else? Did you have anything else from this episode? Any other good takeaways? Music, again.
Oh my god,
amazing.
Music's so good.
Yeah. But I think we covered just about everything that was in there. There was a ton in that episode. I forgot the scrapper. So the scrappers that were getting away, and Wrecker hops on.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that whole sequence in the beginning.
We talk about graphic deaths in Clone Wars. We've talked about it before on the show, and he hits the guy in the chest, and all of a sudden the thing stops, and he goes flying off the front, and then he goes over I don't even know, like down into some giant. I'm like, that dude's dead. Like, there's no way he's surviving that.
Well, it was just like Wrecker kicking all of the. Were they stormtroopers or clone troopers? It was hard to tell in the lighting.
The ones that he was throwing out.
But they looked so much like stormtroopers. That was my first thought. But the clone troopers, the way he was just like kicking them off to the high ledge.
Yeah, he kicked one out of the what, I forget what they called it, the weapons bay or whatever, with the giant cannons, where he kicks one of them out, and then like one was laying on the ground, and he literally picks him up and chucks him out the thing too.
And then when the ceiling caved in, did you see the one that it landed on like half of the clone? And I was like,
yes.
Bloody.
But it's a show for kids. It's a show for kids.
I was like, that could be any of the clones that we used to know and love.
Right. I mean, they don't show any like blood or any graphic stuff like that, which is fine.
Cool.
But that dude's not surviving that fall after he got blasted in the chest and the thing goes over. So anyway.
Julie, I did too. I was like, let him finish. I want to know more about the engine coding. The
engine coding. Yeah, and they were like, nobody cares, tech. Oh, all right, well, fine. Yeah, it was it had great moments with everybody, I thought, in this show. I mean, the fight scenes were well choreographed. You had good crosshair moments. Even if you don't like crosshair, you still had good crosshair moments. You had good tech moments. You had good echo moments. You had good hunter moments, good wrecker moments. Again, Bad Batch doing great individual things and character like personas, not so much being Bad Batch and dispatching as the Bad Batch. So, all right. Woo! I'm exhausted.
Ready to fly out of here?
I am. I'm ready.
Ready to get out of Braca?
It's been a great Friday night. We've been at this for about an hour. We loved having you guys on. We love the questions. I love the questions in the chat. Always happy to answer questions. You can find us on any one of the social medias at Outer Rim Beacon, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Feel free to email us anytime. outerrimbeacon@gmail.com. Submit questions if you guys have a good topic
coming up.
Yes, we have a really cool interview. That's we're doing it Thursday this week, right? We have a really, really cool interview coming up, so stay tuned for that. Excited for that one. We've got our questions ready. We've got just good stuff to chat about with our interviewee, if you will. So, and then next week, like I said, I promise we're gonna play a game. We're gonna have a sweet, sweet prize. So if you want to come, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, whoever else, bring them on. We'll play a fun game. I've got one cool prize in mind. Maybe I'll get 2 or 3. We'll see. Anyway, my name's Justin. You can find me on Twitter at IamTheBendu. Maggie, where can they find you at?
Hello, I am Salty Maggie. You can find me at Maggie with the Towel right here on Twitter. And I'm headed over to Space Waffles at the Geeky Waffle right after this. So join me over there next.
Go tune in, talk some more Bad Batch, talk Loki. Are you guys talking Loki or just Bad Batch?
No Loki. We're only doing that on premieres and
which is a
finales.
Really good show.
So good.
Out of the 3 so far, I've liked Loki the best because it is bananas.
So good. I really hope it maintains the bananas because I'm loving it.
I'm watching some of these explanations in Loki and I'm just like
mind blown. And Tom Hiddleston, chef kiss. His acting is so top notch.
I will say this, not to turn this into like the Marvel show, but I was a little worried with Owen Wilson. He has done a magnificent job. I was a little worried when that was cast, and I was like,
because when I think Owen Wilson, I know he's done a lot of things, but I always think of him in the Night at the Museum movies, because that's like one of my favorite franchises.
And Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. And he's such a comedic actor, but he feeds off. I think Midnight in Paris they were in together previously, and they were so good on screen together. So
yeah, he's done an amazing job on that show. So, but it is bananas. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's awesome. But
it's so good.
Anyway, we love talking Star Wars here. Thank you for joining us tonight. We were glad to have you on. We are going to get out of here. Everybody have a fun and safe weekend. Get some rest. As always, may the Force be with you.
Unidentified vessel. Please submit your clearance codes.
I can bring you an alarm. Or I can bring you in cold.
This is Justin.